What's going on, everybody? Welcome back again to Mid-Level Media. We got another review for you. Today we're talking about Small Soldiers on 4K from Paramount, directed by Joe Dante, which I think I knew this at one time, but I had forgot Joe Dante directed this movie. And then I'm halfway through the movie, I'm looking it up on IMDb, and I'm like, oh, Joe Dante directed this. That makes a lot of sense. This movie, in a lot of ways, to me, like really feels like Gremlins. Like it honestly feels like an unofficial Gremlins 3 in a lot of ways. And I really picked up on that this time around. So, I wasn't planning on doing a 4K review for this, but I got done watching it. I'm like, I got some things to say about Small Soldiers on 4K. So yeah, we're going to talk about it. Before we do that, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't already, we talk about physical media on this channel. That's what we do, guys. 4Ks, Blu-rays, owning the movies that you love. All that stuff there behind me every single day. If you like the kind of stuff, the kind of content, hit that subscribe button. So I do want to note that there is only a Steelbook option to get Small Soldiers on 4K, which you guys know if you watch the channel, I'm totally against that. I want options. I don't understand why they can't give us options, or why Paramount seems to go back and forth. Like with Clueless, they did a 4K Steelbook on Amazon, then they did a regular 4K. And now with Small Soldiers, they're just doing a 4K Steelbook. So I don't know like what the rhyme or reason is to it, because last year with Major League, we got both. We got a regular slipcover version, and we got a Steelbook. With several Paramounts, we'll get both. But with the Naked Gun back in 2023, we just got the Steelbook. So it's like they go back and forth. They can't really decide like what the model is going to be. It's just whatever they decide with whatever particular release that they're putting out. So I don't completely get it, but the 4K Steelbook's going for $30.99. It was $27.99, so the price has gone up since I got it. So I do want to note that. Also, this movie is pretty new to even Blu-ray. It came out on Blu-ray for the first time in 2021, I think February 2021. I never picked it up. I don't exactly know why. I think maybe I was just assuming that it was probably going to come to 4K at some point pretty soon. So I'm glad I held off on that to get this nice Steelbook. It's such a beautiful Steelbook, guys. Really nice Steelbook from Paramount. We can get into the unboxing real quick. Let's just do that. Yeah, I love the design on this. I honestly think it's one of because I mean, this is newly commissioned artwork. I don't believe this was any kind of poster back in the day, but it's one of the best like designs or artwork for like a studio release that I've ever seen. Like I just think it's really perfect and just perfectly captures that film and the vibe and everything. So really cool. On the back, this is the J card right here. I also forgot about Kirsten Dunce being in this movie. So I'm watching, I'm like, oh, this is like, Jumanji era, like right before she would break out as a teen star and Dick, and of course the Spider-Man movies. She was doing movies like this, which just goes to show you just the vast filmography and range of Kirsten Dunce, right? But then you take that off, and on the back right there, you got the Global Tech chip, which is pretty cool. And the lightning and the electricity and all that kind of stuff. Not lightning, electricity. Sorry, guys. Then you open this up. You do have a digital code on the inside. I've already given that away, so I apologize. But you got your basic boring disc art, black and blue. I wish Paramount would do something with their disc art, guys, especially if they're going to charge you $31 for this stuff. But we take out the discs, and you got the two. You got the Gorgonites, and you got the Commandos. Right there, you got Chip, which is played by Tommy Lee Jones, which I also forgot about. Tommy Lee Jones did the voice, so that was pretty fun. But I love the interior artwork. I love everything about this Steelbook. I think it's a great Steelbook, which is one of the main reasons I got it. I mean, I have fond memories with Small Soldiers. I used to watch this movie when I was a kid, but it had been a very long time since I seen it, so it was just one that I wasn't like super itching to jump back into for some reason. Like, even though I had fond memories watching the film, I wasn't like, for some reason in my mind, I didn't think of it like as a real like kids classic from back in the day. I just kind of remember watching it and I enjoyed it. But rewatching it, I will say it is a lot of fun, and it really did to me, like, and it's Joe Dante. So it's got like his DNA and like style all over this movie, but it really felt like a Gremlins 3, because like, if you look at it like this, like the boy in the movie, which I'm blanking on that actor's name. He does a great job. He was a kid actor from back in the day. and he was in Gregory Smith. He was in a lot of other stuff. Oh, like the cast in this movie is so freaking good. Jay Moore's in this movie, which I used to enjoy him a lot. Like he was in a lot of comedies back in the day. Dennis Leary, Phil Hartman, of course, and I think this might have been Phil's last movie because they do the in memoriam at the end in the credits, and they have like one final like little blooper at the end. So watch all the way to the end with this one, like the end of the credits, and you'll see a fun little blooper with Phil Hartman. That's pretty fun and also kind of sad as well. And then they do in memory of Phil Hartman. So like he must, because this was 98, and I think Phil Hartman did die in 98 if I'm not mistaken. Like I remember that so vividly. But yeah, so I think this might have been his last film. But he went out, he definitely went out like a champion for sure, because he is so good in this movie. So good. Like he was such a talent. It's so like he was just great in these kind of roles, like between this and Jingle All the Way. I'm a massive fan of House Guests. Like I would love for that to get some kind of a 4K release at some point. Hopefully we'll get, I think that's Disney though. But anyway, Phil's great as the he's the father of Kirsten Dunce, but he's kind of the annoying neighbor that's really into technology, trying to cut their tree down for a satellite dish. So he's just got a fun character. Then you got the dad is the same dad from Transformers, and he's usually good as like the dad type character. But anyway, going back to my Gremlins comparison. So you have Gregory Smith, and he finds these toys, and Archer is kind of like the Gizmo, right? And then he's got his Mogwai friends. And then you got the Commandos that are basically the Gremlins. So it really is like a Gremlins 3 if you look at it like that. The Commandos are the Gremlins. You got Archer, who's Gizmo, and you got the boy that's trying to figure out how to stop these Commandos from, terrorizing the town and tearing everything up. It's really like the same thing. But yeah, Tommy Lee Jones is great though as Chip in this movie. Chip Hazard, I think, is his name, and it's just a really fun, kids adventure movie that I do think ages pretty well. Like I really had a good time rewatching this one, and I'm glad that I got it. Now getting into the actual 4K transfer. Now I never got the Blu-ray back in the day, but luckily Paramount did include the Blu-ray here, so I could do a little bit of a comparison to the past Blu-ray release. And I do think this is a pretty good upgrade over that Blu-ray. There's quite a bit of clarity here. Now I will say the 4K is on a 66 gigabyte disc. I think that's fine for this. But also like it just shows you that Paramount kind of cheaps out sometimes when it comes to some of these 4Ks. I feel like if it was another studio, they would have just went ahead and put it on 100 gigabyte disc, but not Paramount. It's on 66, which I think, it lends to, it's still a good 4K, but I feel like it could have been a little bit stronger, in terms of like overall resolution and clarity and sharpness if it was on that 100 gigabyte disc. But overall, I thought it was a really good 4K, had some really good clarity to it. I'm a little conflicted on, because this has Dolby Vision, it has HDR10, it's a native 4K restoration. I'm a little conflicted, God, I can't talk today, on the HDR, because like I feel like there are moments that should have shined just a little bit more with that HDR, some of the more like colorful aspects of the film. And you got all the different characters and stuff, and all the little Gorgonite characters are really like cool colors and things like that. And the actual like Commandos themselves, I don't feel like the colors popped quite like I wanted them to. I think they felt a little flat in certain parts of the movie. Sometimes they would pop, sometimes. But I feel like largely like the movie itself, like you could tell it had HDR applied to it, because you had that like level of depth that the Blu-ray did not have. And I feel like you can make a lot of stuff, because there's a lot of sequences that take place at nighttime in this movie, particularly like the entire third act is at night. And I feel like you can make out a lot more details with that HDR and that Dolby Vision in those nighttime scenes versus the Blu-ray. So I think the HDR kind of delivered there, but when it came to the colors, I felt like things were more flat than I would have liked them to be. And I feel like I wanted them to pop just a little bit more is what I'm trying to say with that 4K of the HDR. But overall, it's nice picture quality. There's a good amount of clarity, a lot of detail with it. And I do think it looks pretty, I think it's a pretty sizable upgrade over that Blu-ray. Now getting into the sound, there was no kind of sound upgrade here. You still have the 5.1 DTS HD master audio, which was also present on the Blu-ray release. So no sound upgrade. I do think that this movie though could have benefited from a Dolby Atmos. I mean, it does become kind of like a war film. I mean, you got the commandos that are attacking the house and they're using everything at their disposal. You know, fireworks, rocket launchers, guns, like all that kind of stuff. Like it has explosions in it. Like I feel like this movie could have, you know, benefited from that Atmos, but I'm fine with the 5.1. I thought it sounded good, but also it just goes to show you that Paramount just, you know, when it comes to some of these movies, they cheap out when it comes to doing these upgrades versus other studios that don't feel like they do. But, you know, sound wise, it's good. I just feel like it could have been better. I feel like some people are going to be disappointed that it did not get that Dolby Atmos. Now, getting into the, well, we already did the unboxing, guys. So I guess all I have left to do is talk about these special features here. And, you know, look, guys, here's the thing with special features. We talk about it a lot on this channel. Like, I feel like we give studios a pass sometimes when it comes to special features. It's like, well, if they just include the archival stuff, then that's fine. But we do have studios out there like Lionsgate, like Warner Brothers now, that are including new special features. And it would have been nice to have some new features with this release. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think that, and I mean, Galaxy Quest that came out last year from Paramount had a new special feature retrospective, I think, with the director talking about this movie. I actually think Tim Allen was a part of that, wasn't he? Maybe not. Maybe it was just the director, but it was a good feature. And I think that this movie deserved that kind of treatment. I think they should have tried to get at least one new feature. I'm not saying get Joe Dante, but also like, why wouldn't Joe Dante want to come back and talk about this movie? It just doesn't make any sense. I feel like the studios have the best chance of getting some of these directors and actors to come back and talk about their movies because they have a working relationship with these people or had a working relationship with them. So I feel like it would make the most sense for a studio to be able to get these actors and be able to produce these features. I just don't think they want to put the money into it to do it, you know, versus the boutique labels who I feel like at this point, like we hold the boutique labels to a higher standard because we're used to them putting out these nice collector's editions with new features and all that kind of stuff. And when they don't, we really like to hold their feet to the fire. Whereas with these studios, I feel like we've just kind of accepted that new studio releases, 4K releases, they don't do features. And then that's just okay. And we just need to deal with that. And to be honest, like I don't want to deal with that. I want them to be held to the same standard because they're now proving to us that they can do new special features like Warner Brothers, like Lionsgate, Sony in some cases, but just last year, Paramount as well did new special features. At least something new. I mean, this has a making of Small Soldiers, which looks like it was from the DVD release back in the day. It looks very old. And then you got from the cutting room floor, bloopers, and then that's it. It's like, can we get something like what's Gregory Smith doing nowadays? You know, I know you're probably not going to get Kirsten Dunce, but what are some of these people doing nowadays? You tell me nobody would come back and talk about this movie. It just doesn't make any sense. Also, I do want to say Dick Miller's in this movie, which Dick Miller's in a lot of Joe Dante films. But I love Dick Miller just because I've got such a nostalgia for Gremlins and Gremlins 2. So it was really cool to see him in this movie as like, you know, playing kind of a similar character to his characters in the Gremlins film. So I just love Dick Miller. So overall, guys, look, my thoughts on this release, I think the 4K is solid. I think it's a solid 4K upgrade, a little underwhelming with the HDR and the Dolby Vision. I kind of wanted just a little bit more, but it's a solid upgrade for sure. Movie's super fun. I just kind of wanted to talk about it because I haven't really got to talk about Small Soldiers on this channel before. So it was cool to revisit this one. And, you know, special features, guys, I'm disappointed. You know, I just think that we're too late in this game to not be including new stuff with these releases. Like, if we're moving towards that collector market, we should be moving towards doing all these releases, nice collector's editions for people to enjoy, do new features. And I do feel like we need to hold the studios to the same standards that we do some of the boutique labels. I mean, I don't want to give up on that. I don't want to give up on that. I know it's a tired you know, criticism to have at this point, but I don't want to give up on special features and just kind of holding these studios accountable for doing new features because they do it sometimes. It's like, why can't you do it with every release that you do? I mean, I know it's a little bit extra money, but you're making a lot of money off of this stuff as well. But also really nice Steelbook. I love this Steelbook. So overall, it's a good release. I do recommend it. Even at $30.99, I think it's worth that, but a little underwhelming in some areas. So yeah, guys, I'll link it down below if you're interested. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, turn on bell notifications for all future videos, and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description. and we'll see you next time.